Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Ordinary Council meeting for Monday, the 10th of November. Item 1.1, attendance. Are there any apologies, Mr Keasley?
Thank you, Mayor. We have apologies from Councillor Mehmeti, Councillor Dark and Councillor O'Reilly.
Thank you. Item 1.3. Apologies, I'm moving ahead of myself today. 1.2. Acknowledgement of traditional owners of the land. Council acknowledges the traditional owners and custodians of this land, the Bunurong people, and pays our respects to their elders past, present and emerging, while also recognising their deep and continuing connections to climate, culture and country. We also pay our respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples and their elders and acknowledge their journey. Item 1.3, offering of prayer, reflection or affirmation. As part of Council's commitment to recognising the cultural and spiritual diversity of our community, the prayer this evening, reflection or affirmation this evening, will be offered by Reverend Graham Peters from the St James Anglican Church, Dandenong, a member of the Greater Dandenong Interfaith Network. Please stand.
Thanks very much, and let me lead you in this prayer. God of justice and mercy, thank you for the gift of life and the opportunity to serve the people of our city of Greater Dandenong. We thank you for all the good work done by this council in service to their community over this past year. And for this final meeting for this year, we pray your blessing on all the ongoing endeavours and projects. As we draw near to Christmas and as we reflect on the Advent themes of peace, hope, love and joy, we ask that you would grant peace to our city, an end to conflict and violence. We pray for hope for our young people, opportunities to learn and to work. And we pray for joy to all who live in this city, especially to those suffering bereavement, loss and illness. And overall, we pray that we might learn to love, to respect and to cherish each other in all our diversity. In this meeting, help us to listen to each other with understanding and goodwill. Help us to speak with charity and restraint. Help us to act with character and conviction. And help us to always seek the good of this city and its people. And as the year draws to an end, we ask that you would give rest to our councillors in the coming break. May they have precious times with family and loved ones as they reflect on this past year and celebrate this festive season and your great gift of love. Renew us all so that with fresh eyes, warm hearts and renewed vigour we might continue to serve the good people of Greater Dandenong into the coming year. And we ask this in your loving name. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Peters, and have a happy Christmas. Item 1.4, confirmation of minutes of previous meeting.
Happy to move that, Mayor.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Councillor Formoso, seconded by Councillor Lim. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? As there's no opposition, I declare this item carried. Item 1.5, disclosures of interest. Mr Keasley, do we have any?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, we have one disclosure of conflict of interest from Councillor Sophie Tan with regards to item on the agenda 4.4.5, Community Support Grants Round 2. It is an indirect material conflict of interest of a pecuniary nature, as Councillor Tan is a member of the Cambodian Association of Victoria and is a recipient of one of the grants provided in that particular report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Keasley. Item 1.6, adoption of the Audit and Risk Committee meeting minutes. Moved by Councillor Trong, seconded by Councillor Lim. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? As there's no opposition, I declare this item carried. Item 2, Officers' Report, Part 1. Item 2.1, Documents for Sealing. 2.1.1, Documents for Sealing. Moved by Councillor Long, seconded by Councillor Garrard. Are there any questions? Is there any
comments, Mayor?
Yes, Councillor Tan.
Thank you. Just want to congratulate Anita Caprigiani, so community service for 10 years of service to the City of Greater Dandenong. Also to Mindu Yuan and Natasha Krikas, also community service to for 10 years service to the City of Greater Dandenong. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Tan. Is there any opposition to this item? As there's no opposition, I declare this item carried. Item 2.2, Documents for Tabling. 2.2.1, Documents for Tabling, moved by Councillor Garrard.
Happy to second that.
Seconded by Deputy Mayor Councillor Formoso. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? As there's no opposition, I declare this item carried. Item 2.2.2, Petitions and Joint Letters, moved by Councillor Trung, seconded by Councillor Garrard. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? As there's no opposition, I declare this item carried. Item 2.3, Statutory Planning Applications. 2.3.1, Town Planning Application number 15 and 17, Barnett Grove Noble Park. Planning Application number PLN 21/0396. Moved by...
Happy to move it, Mayor.
Moved by Councillor Milkovich, seconded by Councillor Tan. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? As there's no opposition, I declare this item carried. Item 2.3.2, Town Planning Application number 17, Regent Avenue, Springvale. Planning Application number PLN 22/0187.
Peter move.
Moved
Mayor.
by Councillor Tan.
I'll second it, thank you.
Seconded by Councillor Milkovich. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? As there's no opposition, I declare this item carried. Item 2.3.3, Town Planning Application number 1 and 2/34 and 36, Cahill Street, Dandenong South. Planning Application number PLN 22/0411. Moved by Councillor Garrard, seconded by Councillor Lim. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? As there's no opposition, I declare this item carried. Councillor Garrard.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to provide some background around this application. Given the COVID crisis, which is not over, the amount of medical waste has exponentially increased, and this application is around extending the capacity of this organisation to environmentally, in an environmentally sustainable way, dispose of that waste.
Thank you, Councillor Garrard.
Can I make a comment as well?
Councillor Milkovich, yes.
Yes, just like to say, it's great to see that we got another vote of confidence by a great big business who's been operating within the City of Greater Dandenong for the past 15 years, particularly in the envelope of medical recycling. It's great to see that they're actually not only staying here, but they're also expanding the operations within the City of Greater Dandenong. So that's a great result for our municipality. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Milkovich. Any other comments? Okay. Item 3, question time, public. Mr Kearsley.
Thank you, Mayor. We have 12 questions tonight. I'll start with the first one from a Mr Philip Lamaro of Dandenong, who asks, with Dandenong CBD having its first high-rise residential dwelling started on Scott Street and the revitalising Central Dandenong development beginning in 2023, the CBD will start to have more apartments. With this push for more high-rise apartments in Central Dandenong, I wish to ask about Council's plans on future off-leash dog parks to support this area. Dandenong CBD has no off-leash dog parks in close proximity to this area. With the push to have 470 plus apartments built in the revitalising Central Dandenong area alone in the future, plus the surrounding area, it bears the questions: does Dandenong have plans to create more dog parks to support the influx of these new dwellings? And if so, when does Council plan to have these accessible? Mr Van Boxtel, thank you.
Mr Van Boxtel.
Through the Mayor. Thank you, Philip, for your question. Council's 2019 Dog Off Leash strategy identifies a proposed new facility for Keneally Reserve, which will serve part of central Dandenong. The timing for implementation of this is dependent on Council's budget process. The Dog Off Leash strategy identifies criteria to identify suitable new dog off leash parks. This criteria and a demonstrated increase in dog registrations will guide the implementation of future additional facilities.
Thank you, Mr Van Boxtel. Mr Keasley.
Thank you, Mayor. The second question is from Mr Adam Murray from Keysborough. Good evening. May I inquire as to the reason for the speed limit reductions on Cheltenham Road between Parkmore Shopping Centre and Keysborough Bowls Club in an east-west direction, and also on Springvale Road between the Cheltenham Road intersection and the Caltex Woolworths petrol station in a north-south direction? Signage indicates some sort of roadworks, but there has been no sign of works performed for months. Mr Van Boxtel, thank you.
Thank you, Mr Van Boxtel.
Through the Mayor. Thank you, Adam, for your question. The speed limit reductions are both on roads which are managed directly by the Department of Transport. We have forwarded your inquiry through to the State Department for their direct response and have requested that Council also be informed as to the reason for the reduction in speed at these two locations. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Van Boxtel. Mr Keasley.
Thank you, Mayor. The next question is also from Adam Murray of Keysborough, who asks, again, good evening. A public question was asked at last Council meeting which was taken on notice for a response, and I feel the answer warrants a public answer. Can we please have the response read aloud at this meeting? The original question was, quote, is there any chance of revealing the cost to date to the ratepayer of defending the Council and its officers in this case relating to iCook Foods? That question was from El Miso of Dandenong North. I do have the response that was prepared for Mr Miso, so I'm happy to actually read that out in response to this question, and noting too that Mr Miso's question will be tabled tonight as well. So in response to your question, both Mr Miso's and Mr Murray's, the iCook Food matter is subject of a pending Supreme Court case, and therefore we are not in a position to release such information. Please be assured that Council has been particularly frugal in its approach to all expenditure related to this matter and has consistently and regularly considered the impact on our ratepayers. Council has actively worked to keep costs to a minimum, but has had to respond to actions and decisions by external sources. I can also assure you that with all the noise in the media and in political circles focuses on conspiracies and alleged corruption within government, Council absolutely refutes all allegations of wrongdoing made against us by iCook Foods and others. The State Ombudsman, 2 parliamentary inquiries and 2 Victoria Police investigations have reviewed and interrogated every aspect of this matter, and on every occasion, without exception, Council has been cleared of any wrongdoing. This continues to be nothing more than a series of baseless claims centred on a hurtful conspiracy theory. The staff involved were just doing their job to the best of their abilities, enforcing the Food Safety Act and ensuring the well-being of our community. Council is looking forward to putting its case, the facts and arguments before a Supreme Court judge. There has been no cover-up, no false or misleading information. On the contrary, we have actively participated and cooperated in all investigations undertaken to date and provided all requested information, photographs, video footage and evidence. I hope this in part responds to your query, and I'm sure at a future date the specific information you are seeking with regards to financial costs will be available. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Keasley. Next question.
Thank you. The next question is from Shankar Sivapathsubramaniam, and I apologise if I have that incorrect, of Dandenong. The question is, when will the community hear the results of the recent Dandenong Community Hub concept design consultation, and what are the next steps with the project? Mr Devine, thank you.
Thank you. Mr Devine.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for the question. The recent community consultation for the Dandenong Community Hub concluded on Sunday the 27th of November. The results are being prepared into a report which is scheduled to be presented to councillors in February 2023. Based on the instructions from the councillors from that report, that will subsequently go to a formal council meeting. Following consideration by council, the project page on the website will be updated and all stakeholders will be advised of the next steps at that time. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Devine. Mr Keasley.
Thank you, Mayor. Second question, from Susan Smith of Dandenong, also relates to the Dandenong Community Hub. I strongly support Dandenong Community Hub Design 2, but why has this been designed without an entrance foyer on the Stewart Street side linking the Children's Services Wing and the Community Activities Wing? Without it, it looks like two buildings side by side, not one building. That's not an integrated intergenerational community hub. Mr Devine, thank you.
Thank you. Mr Devine.
Thank you, Mayor, and thanks for the question. Whilst the concepts are indicative at this time, option 2 maintains an entrance off Stewart Street, directly into the Cafe Community Lounge and leading to the Children's Services area. This connects both the Children's Services and the Community Activity area, making this an integrated hub, along with the relevant security requirements under legislation for children's services. Subject to council confirmation and an architect being engaged, the next stage would be detailed design, and that will further incorporate feedback such as this from the recent community consultation. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Devine. Mr Keasley.
Thank you, Mayor. The next question is from Dominic Bakari of Keysborough. The question is, has our council contributed $200,000 towards a community parkland that is inside private property? And if so, why, as the wider community cannot access this park that is on private property? Mr Bosman, thank you.
Thank you. Mr Bosman.
Madam Mayor, I'm going to take that question on notice. I'm not sure which piece of land Mr Bakari is referring to. I will correspond with him and get more detail and then be able to respond to him and copy councillors into that response.
Thank you, Mr Bosman. Mr Keasley.
Thank you. The second question from Dominic Bakari of Keysborough is, will council introduce a policy that bans councillors promoting political parties before and during a state or federal election? We, the community, expect our councillors to remain neutral during these periods and not push their own political parties, as this could and will cause division between your ratepayers and councillors due to different political views. Ms Roberts, thank you.
Thank you. Ms Roberts.
Through you, Mayor. Thanks, Mr Bakari. The simple answer is no, I guess. Under the Victorian Charter of Human Rights and Responsibilities Act 2006, councillors, and indeed all of us, have the right to freedom of thought, expression and association. It is no secret that our councillors are members of different political parties, and they have the right to support those parties during state or federal elections. Councillors and staff, however, are not permitted to use council resources to support those parties for any election activity, and this was closely monitored both through the federal and state elections held this year. The use of council resources by existing councillors during council elections is also carefully monitored and penalised.
Thank you, Ms Roberts. Mr Keasley. Thank you, Mayor. The question is from Matthew Kerwin of Noble Park. The question is, I continue to hear complaints regarding the street light brightness on Cyril Grove Noble Park, particularly at the railway parade end. What was the outcome of the recent lighting review? Mr Van Boxtel, thank you.
Thank you. Mr Van Boxtel.
Through the Mayor. Thank you, Matthew, for your question. The recent lighting audit identified two faulty street lights in that section of Cyril Grove, which have now been repaired. The audit also identified the need, a deficiency which could be rectified by the installation of an additional light. This light is to be located within the vicinity of 2 to 4 Cyril Grove, and we're currently awaiting the installation of that light by United Energy, which we expect will occur by the end of this month. an update will be provided to local residents in this regard. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Van Boxtel. Mr Kearsley.
Thank you, Mayor. The next question is from Gai Guest of Keysborough. The question is, why are old permits allowed to be amended after the extra dwelling built? For example, PLN 17/0603 was for 114 dwellings, now they have built 116. There are many examples in the planning permit portal, including one from an example PLN 03/0331. Why are multiple dwellings built and then the developer applies for a PSUB or a PLA to subdivide the land when these are not advertised and the original objectors or residents cannot put in an objection? Why does Council allow this over and over again? This is at the ire of residents who want their neighbourhood character and amenities protected and are crushed by VCAT and Council who don't protect the NCO, a tool used in areas where the residential development standards consistently fail to meet the specific objectives for neighbourhood character. Let's not forget the Premier saying that Council is in control of planning issues, and yet Council say they are bound by state government ruling. Mr Bosman, thank you.
Mr Bosman, please.
Madam Mayor, thank you through yourself to Ms Guest. The Planning and Environment Act allows developers to apply to Council to amend an existing permit. When an amendment is submitted, Council is required to assess the proposed changes, and this assessment includes a consideration of whether the amended application should be advertised. Where it is determined that there is potential for detriment as a result of the changes, this will be advertised by Council. The exception to this is where the proposal is exempt from advertising under the planning scheme, meaning Council cannot legally advertise the application. So in relation to planning permit PLN 17/0603 at 452 Cheltenham Road, Keysborough, an amendment was submitted by the applicant to increase the number of dwellings from 114 to 116. This application was assessed in accordance with the planning scheme and was determined to be in accordance with the scheme. In terms of advertising, as the site already contained an approved development plan, the proposal was exempt from advertising under the planning scheme, meaning Council could not advertise it. With regard to subdivision applications, these are applications submitted under the Subdivision Act for the purposes of subdividing land. And the Subdivision Act is different to the Planning and Environment Act and does not contain provisions to advertise these applications. And as such, Council cannot advertise this type of application. Finally, while the above examples are exempt from advertising, it should be noted that most applications are not, and therefore are advertised when it is considered that there may be detriment to people in the surrounding area. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Bosman. Mr Kearsley.
Thank you, Mayor. The next question is also from Gai Guest of Keysborough. Her question is, how high are the dwellings at 220 Chapel Road supposed to be? The front build looks like it's going to be 3 stories at the moment. The back build has wooden framing going on top of the 2-storey build, and yet the previous councillors argued and it was agreed that along the boundary the build would not exceed 2 stories, so it didn't impact on the residents, especially on Orlando Court. An artist impression shows clearly all 3 separate builds on the one side are all the same height. So is this another instance when Council will be asked to amend the original PLN because the developer has already built the apartments illegally, oversubscribed like the 6 original shops, now extended to 13? Where are all these dwellings and shop owners' clients going to park their cars on such a deadly corner? Mr Bosman, thank you.
Thank you, Mr Bosman.
Madam Mayor, thank you through yourself to Ms Guest. The height of the proposed building fronting onto Chapel Road will be 3 stories. That's a ground floor of commercial with the first and second floor being apartments. The overall height is at 10.5 metres, and this 3-storey section wraps around the access point with a setback of 35.5 metres from the northern boundary, which is the boundary with the Orlando Crescent residence, and along the Hutton Road frontage. The height of the proposed townhouses facing the northern boundary, that being Orlando Crescent, will be 2 stories with an overall height of approximately 7.75 metres. And the height of the proposed townhouses facing the western boundary is also 2 stories with an overall height of 7.5 metres. And the 4-storey built form that Ms. Guest refers to is located in the centre of the site, and it's approximately 14 metres high. It's a rather large site. With reference to the question around where's everybody going to park, in respect of the residential component of the development, there are 233 spaces provided, which is 9 spaces in excess of what is required. And in respect of the commercial component, there are 45 spaces provided, which is 11 spaces in excess of what is required. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Bosman. Mr Keasley.
Thank you, Mayor. The next question is from Elizabeth Grasso of Keysborough. Her question is, it's been almost 2 months since I asked a question about a cat curfew in Greater Dandenong. I was then told there would be community consultation starting, but have seen no sign of it. When is community consultation planning to start? Mr Bosman, thank you.
Mr Bosman, please.
Madam Mayor, thank you to yourself, to Ms Grasso. The community consultation on a cat curfew has unfortunately been delayed and is now anticipated to commence in February 2023. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Bosman. Mr Keasley.
Thank you, Mayor. The last question for tonight, and also the last question for 2022 from the public, is from Valerie Raperti from Dandenong North. The question is, I love the single-storey designs for Dandenong Community Hub that were recently released, but why was the public playground proposed small? The design is half of the site that council owns. The playground seems to be 10% of the Springvale Community Hub playground, and the Keysborough South Community Hub playground has been drawing people to the Springvale Community Hub. Why are the residents of Dandenong being shortchanged? Mr Devine, thank you.
Thank you. Mr Devine.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for the question. 3 concept plans were developed based on community feedback received to date, and these were again presented to the community for the recent community consultation. These drawings are not detailed design. Noting that these options are concepts only, further refinement will be undertaken on all elements, including the playground, once a preferred direction is determined by council, an architect engaged and detailed design has been commenced. Further detailed design will incorporate feedback received from the recent community consultation, and that will include the size and the nature of the playground. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Devine. Mr Keasley, questions taken on notice at the last council meeting?
Yes, we have one public question from Mr Earl Misso from Dandenong North, which I read out as part of the other answer. Yep. So that has been tabled tonight for the minute. Thank you, Mr
Keasley. Item 4, Officers' Reports, Part 2, 4.1 Contracts, 4.1.1 Contract Number 2223-06, Road Resurfacing and Associated Works. Do I have it moved by Councillor Garrard? Seconded by Councillor Tan. Are there any questions?
I've got a question, Mayor.
Yes, Councillor Milkovich.
Just a relevant officer, between these companies, there's 7 of them who are contracted to us. How is the work actually awarded, or how is the work allocated? Is it a rotating roster, or just a bit of an explanation how it works? Thank you.
Thank you. Mr Van Boxtel.
Through the Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Milkovic. So what we're doing here is we're setting up a panel of 7, and then, if approved and endorsed by Council tonight, they would all be available to quote future projects. My understanding is we would typically then, each time a package of works comes up that we want to procure, we would then typically go to a minimum of 3 of companies on that panel, and then basically this is saying that all of those companies are adequately accredited to undertake those works, and it would predominantly come down to then the price and the availability of the contractor in terms of engaging them on a case-by-case basis.
Thank you, Mr Van Boxtel.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? Is there any opposition? As there's no opposition, I declare this item carried. Item 4.2, Finance and Budget. 4.2.1, Mid-Year Budget Review 2022 to 2023. Moved by Councillor Long. Seconded by Councillor Tan. Are there any questions? Yes, Councillor Garrard.
Thank you, Mayor. Through you, Mayor, to the relevant officer. Can the relevant officer explain and reassure us that the movement of funds from the important open space acquisition reserve to the major projects fund is a one-off and an aberration and due to particular circumstances and is not likely to occur again?
Thank you, Councillor Garrard. Ms Hanson, please.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor, I can confirm that, Councillor Garrard, that it is a once-off and, as noted in the resolution, very specific to the circumstances provided within the mid-year budget report.
Thank you, Ms Hanson. Any further questions? Is there any opposition? As there's no opposition, I declare this item carried. Item 4.3, Policy and Strategy. 4.3.1, Draft Greater Dandenong Sustainability Strategy 2016 to 2030, 5-year refresh and 2019-2020 and 2020-2021 Annual Sustainability Report. Is there a mover? Moved by Councillor Garrard, seconded by Councillor Lim. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? As there's no opposition, I declare this item carried. Yes, Councillor Garrard.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to congratulate the staff and officers that have worked so hard in this space and the enormous achievements that we can see that have come about through this strategy and the enormous amount of work that has gone into the development of the 5-year strategy. Dandenong is an outstanding example of effective work around sustainability. We really are leaders in this field, and I highly commend the staff and that have worked in such a dedicated and purposeful way to really achieve these outstanding results. There's a lot more to come, and that will relate to a question further on. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Garrard. Item 4.3.2, Climate Change Community Engagement and Mobilisation Plan Status Update Report. Yes, Councillor Garrard.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move an alternate motion.
Yep. Would you like to say what it is and speak to the item?
Sorry, I thought I had to be moved first. So I'm moving that there is a change to the second point in the recommendation, that we move stakeholder consultation up to the second phase within the work plan, which is in line with best practice co-design approaches to stakeholder consultation.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Garrard. Seconded by
I'll second it.
seconded by Councillor Long. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? As there's no opposition, I declare this alternate motion carried. Item 4.4, Other. 4.4.1, Draft Minutes of Positive Ageing Advisory Committee Meeting 13th October 2022. Moved by Deputy Mayor Councillor Formoso, seconded by Councillor Garrard. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? As there's no opposition, I declare this item carried. Item 4.4.2, Multicultural and People Seeking Asylum Advisory Committee Terms of Reference 2022 to 2025. Moved by Councillor Garrard, seconded by Councillor Lim. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? As there's no opposition, I declare this item carried. Item 4.4.3, Response to Notice of Motion Number 20, 1 tree per child, moved by Councillor Garrard, seconded by Councillor Lim. Are there any questions?
I've got a question there.
You've got a question, Councillor Milkovich?
Just for our residents, for the benefit of residents, if a relevant officer or Councillor Garrard can just explain as to what this policy is and what is it trying to achieve. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Milkovich. Councillor Garrard, can you respond?
Yeah, I'm happy to respond if that's appropriate, Mayor. Through you, Mayor. Thank you for the question. This is a very welcome policy. It's a very welcome approach and recommendation by the relevant officers. The vision is that every child that attend school in Dandenong will plant one tree, adopt one tree, nurture one tree, and protect that tree throughout their life. And the vision is for the child to develop a close relationship with nature, and therefore, develop their literacy around protecting nature and also understanding the importance. So it really is a population-wide vision. Right now we're doing it at small scale, we're integrating it into usual practice, but the vision and the hope is that eventually every child that attends school in Dandenong will plant a tree, nurture a tree, understand better what it requires to look after nature and look after our environment, and that will lead at a population level to a much greater appreciation of trees and the environment, and hopefully in the long run increase our tree canopy, which we know is going backwards in Dandenong. So it is a long-term hope that we build within our younger generation a love and appreciation of the environment.
Thank you, Councillor Garrard. Any further questions?
Yeah, just got one quick question.
Yes, Councillor Tan.
Just want to find out, so who's paying for the cost of the tree? Is it council or school? Thanks.
Councillor Garrard.
So as it stands, the program itself is around building the partnership between providing support to the council to build that relationship with schools. So it is a council partnership with local schools. Currently we have a similar program. We have tree stock to support that program, which we will use. What we do get from the One Tree initiative, One Tree Per Child initiative, is promotional support, educational support, and that helps to build the awareness of the program. As you'll note in the recommendation, we're also reporting separately, so we will understand directly the contribution this initiative has made to the outcome, which is the trees planted by children. So there is no further cost to the council, and in fact it is anticipated that it will contribute to tree stock later on. So actually it's a contribution to the council rather than a cost to the council.
Thank you, Councillor Garrard. Are there any further questions? Is there any opposition? As there's no opposition, I declare this item carried. Any councillors that would like to make comment? Yes, Councillor Lim.
Thank you, Mayor. Just would like to support, 100% to Councillor Garrard that made very well said about one child per tree. For me, last Thursday morning, Mr. Kevin Boxdale organised what we call revitalisation of Springvale. I had a good talk with committee leader in different groups, and I said to them that business owner in Springvale Activity Centre wouldn't mind to have one child policy for each business owner to build more, to put more tree in Springvale Activity Centre. And a lot of business owners will agree with, because we want to make Springvale Activity Centre more greener and more cooler. That's what I think is not going to cost the council at all, probably mainly cost to the business owner. And the council has to be partnership with business owner by trying to help them how to put more tree in Springvale Activity Centre. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lim. Item 4.4.4, response to notice of motion 22, establishment of a South East Council's biodiversity network, moved by Councillor Garrard, seconded by Councillor Milkovich. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? As there's no opposition, I declare this item carried. Councillor Garrard, would you like to make a few comments?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to congratulate the officers that have provided so quickly this report. It's very encouraging. It's a good start. It's a positive start. It looks like it augurs well for the establishment of the network, and I really appreciate the officers' effort to work towards an outcome which will support a biodiversity network.
Thank you, Councillor Garrard. Item 4.4.5, Community Support Grants Round 2 2022. Councillor Tan.
Yes, I declare in accordance with Section 127 to 129 of the Local Government Act 2020 that the type of interest that has given rise to a conflict, which is indirect material conflicts of interest of procurement nature. So I am a member of the Cambodian Association of Victoria and is a recipient of one of the grants funded as detailed in attachment 1. So I'll be leaving the room. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tan. We'll just hold this item until Councillor Tan leaves the chamber. Okay, so do I have a mover for item 4.4.5, Community Support Grants Round 2 2022?
Happy to move that, Mayor.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Councillor Formoso, seconded by Councillor Lim. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? As there's no opposition, I declare this item carried. We can now call Councillor Tan back in. Item 4.4.6, Instrument of Delegation to the new Chief Executive Officer. Moved by Councillor Garrard, seconded by Councillor Lim. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? As there's no opposition, I declare this item carried. Item 4.4.7, List of Registered Correspondence to Mayor and Councillors. Moved by Councillor Garrard, seconded by Councillor Trung. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? As there's no opposition, I declare this item carried. Item 4.4.8, Report on matters discussed at councillor briefing sessions and pre-council meetings. Moved by Councillor Long. Thank
Happy
you.
to second that.
Seconded by Councillor Lim. Are there any questions? Is there any opposition? As there's no opposition, I declare this item carried. Item 5, Notices of Motions. There are no notices of motions. So we'll move on to item 6, Reports from Councillors, Delegated Members and Councillor Questions. I might start with Councillor Milkovich this evening.
Thank you, Mayor. Nothing to report. Just like to wish, again, all our residents, which we will have done in a video form, all our residents a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. That's it for me this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Milkovich. Councillor Tan.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I just want to give my report for the last 2 weeks. So on the 30th of November, I attended the Australia Day Award Assessment Panel meeting. So we had a great pile of candidates this year. It'll be great to see who's going to win on the day. So my question for tonight, this is just regarding to a major road safety projects in Noble Park Ward. We do have a black spot program that's been funded by the federal government, which is the first one is the Bloomfield Road in Keysborough. So due to this, due to COVID-19, the project has been delayed because meant to be completed in June 2022. So the project is meant to install and raise an intersection and raise platforms alongside Bloomfield Road. But for some reason, the project was delayed. So through you, Mayor, just want to find out why it was delayed due to, is it because short of materials, so what's the reason? And I need to get the exact date. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tan. Mr Van Boxtel.
Through the Mayor, I can't locate some specific information on that particular project, Councillor Tan, so I'll need to take that on notice and get back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Van Boxtel. Councillor Tan.
I will send it to you, and the other one is also in Noble Park Ward as well. It's under Joy Parade and Henry Street. Just been given like a rough estimate saying it will be completed by this financial year instead. So I can send it to you and just need to get exact date of the completion. That would be great. Thank you, and I just want to say thank you to all directors for doing their great job, because the last year we've done sort of a lot through COVID, so we did a lot of our CRP project as well. Thank you to everyone who done a great job on the Douglas streetscape. So we've done 1.17, I think, million already complete of the job. So great work. We've done a lot in Noble Park Board in terms of more open space. So we bought 89 Douglas Street Pocket Park, Plaza 2 Frank Street, Noble Park also will be open next year, and other major projects as well with Ross Reserve. The sport pavilion that will be completed also, plus the gymnasium. So great jobs, guys. You've done a really, really great job due to the COVID-19. It's really hard as well for the last 2 years. So I just want to say thank you to everyone for that great way. And Happy New Year, Happy Merry Christmas for 2022. And I will see you 2023. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tan. Councillor Lim.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few things to report. On Monday, the 12th of December, Monday the 28th, I sort of had a team meeting with Councillor O'Reilly and also Sarah Hill and plus Clara Yip regarding to our Springvale Community Hub about the future of the committee the committees. And also on the Tuesday, the 29th of November, I had a good meeting requested by Deputy Mayor of City of Monash, because she's ambassador of mental health and also from Liver Well, part of Hepatitis of Victoria. Yeah, they want to discuss with us how to provide more services to our community, especially our city, and plus other municipality as well. That's what a great outcome, a long discussion, 2 hours plus. And also on the 30th of November, the Wednesday, I have I had a chance to attend Southeastern Business Network annual Christmas lunch with Mayor Eden Foster and also with Councillor Long and also with CEO, our former CEO, John Benny. It's a great one. It's great, interaction with other business owner and also a great speaker as well that we should learn from that gentleman that have already brought a great idea about IT. Yeah, and on the Thursday, the 1st of December, I had a chance to attend Youth Leader Celebration with Mayor again, and also with Councillor Lana, Deputy Mayor Lana Formoso, and also with Councillor Rona Garat as well. On Friday, the 2nd of December, I attended Christmas lunch organized by Salvation Army of Victoria at Hyatt, Parliament Square. It's a great one that acknowledge all the donor, the contributor, the volunteers, and especially they had a great speaker as well, especially the CEO of Kmart. He's been helping Salvation for the last 35 years, and plus so many other people that went through a lot of rough life, especially sleep rough, the sort of thing. They confess about how conservation means helping and saving their life. And on the 4th of December, I had a bit of a chance to attend Springvale Community Garden Christmas Party in the morning with Mayor again, and also Sean O'Reilly, plus other, community leader on that day. And in the afternoon, I attend what we call 33-year celebration of Malaysian radio celebration of community radio, 33-year celebration. They invited me as a guest speaker, and also they invited me to be part of that radio for the near future. On Tuesday, the 6th of December, I had a 2-hour tour organized by Mr. Ken Van Boxtel. Thank you so much for your hard work and your effort to organize the tour with the 2 consultants, and also with Dana Harding from our council. It's a great tour, supposed to be 1 hour, become end up with 2 hours. And Councillor Lloyd Trung helped us, joined us for a short period of time, probably about half an hour. It's a great discussion. We went through every corner of Springvale Activity Centre. Sounds like we have a great outcome. Honestly to you, I was very happy on that day. And also on the Wednesday, the 7th of December, I attended Vasa 31st anniversary celebration with Mayor as well, again, with former Mayor Jim Mehmeti, with Councillor Truong, And also they asked me to sponsor their organization. I love to sponsor the VASA that look after all the elderly Vietnamese association. And after that, I had to attend the AIMS Australia, a little bit late, but sort of they wouldn't mind for me to be late, and they want me, the main reason they wanted me to be there because they are members and also come to my pharmacy very frequently, and they want me to give inspired speak because a lot of migrants come to Australia. They are very negative, or some negative, some not so bad, but they want me to give inspired speak. I had a bit of chance to speak about 10 or 15 minutes for them, and I promise in the future I'm going to come more frequently because they asked me to come more frequently to be a speak to them and to teach them how to learn English in a very quicker way. Okay. On Thursday, the 8th of December, I sort of attend, this is my profession more actually, but very important to our community as a whole, as Australian community as well. Pharmaceutical Society Australia dinner. That dinner very important every year just to present the certificate of appreciation or the award winner like Pharmacist of the Year, Intern of the Year, etc. But the most important on that day is the Dean of Pharmacy School, that #1 in the world, and also the President of Pharmaceutical Society Australia, the Vice President of Pharmacy Guild, and Vice President of PSA, those sort of things. They just discussed with me to ask me my personal opinion about the shortage, about other things, and I request for them to increase the quota for pharmacy school. He willing to increase from 250, probably from Pharmacy Faculty of Pharmacy or Monash, to probably from 250 to probably 600, 590 to 600. That's a great idea. But the score is not going to drop below 90 at all because a lot of demand from overseas, especially Chinese students and so on, and from other parts of the world as well. That's a great discussion that evening. And also, Pharmacy Guild Australia, they want me to be part of podcast, Australian Journal of Pharmacy podcast on the regular basis as well. I'm willing to help them from time to time whenever I have time for. On the Friday, the 9th of December, I had a meeting, on Thursday as well, Mr. Van Boxterman organized and myself organized a committee leader to come to Springvale to Springvale Community Hub to have a great discussion about how to revitalize Springvale. And a great team, a great group, and they gave us a lot of ideas, a great idea. And thank you so much again from Mr. Van Boxtel and also from Paul Beasley from your department that provide this opportunity. That's stage 1 only of consultation. Hopefully the next second and third we come up with a good outcome and we can form a revitalization board for Springvale. That's a great and everyone very happy with that day. And also on Friday the night, I'm meeting with the president of director of Monash Health, Mr. Ron Fairchild, and also his senior staff regarding to future of Monash Health, how to organize more fundraising, and also on that day I presented them the money that I raise every month or two. We raise over $4,000 for the last probably 2 months. Normally more than that because of Cambodia Vision, my charity, absorbs some of the fund. Therefore, we raise a bit less. But the most important, I would like to ask every one of us to attend the gala dinner on the 10th of February. A very good one of a lifetime. I'm not saying to you, I attend many times. It's a very great one, very good show, good musician and good circus and so on, and good dinner, and about 900 to 1,000 people. If you can come along, it's a great support. Our council just want to support the Southeastern, health. That's a great one. Honestly to you, now I try very hard to promote that and how we're going to work together with Monash Health again. I try to raise about at least 10 tables for them on that day. And just really, for everyone, if you can attend would be good. Just try to save money from today's onward because a little bit expensive. The tickets we treat as donation, not as a ticket. And also on Saturday, the 10th of December, I attended Khmer Cultural Day. That's organized by Khmer Cultural Days. That's a great one, very impressive one by the youth group. And also they asked me for their sponsorship as well. I don't mind to help them. On the Sunday, the 11th of December, I attended Druze Community of Victoria, very, very exciting one, with Councillor Garat, that she's in charge of that ward, and Mayor as usual, and former Mayor Jim Ameti, plus the Mayor, Mr. Saab, Councillor Saab as a Mayor of Kingston, and also the most important, the key important VIP is Mr. Mark Dreyfus, and also Mr. Tim Richardson. Yeah, that's a great one. And an amazing, very small community, but they have a very big project, very big heart to try to build this amazing community center. And also on that afternoon, I got a discussion with one of the Mental Health Australia to ask me to be part of, Mr. Vasan. I said, I'm going to think about it. If I have a chance, I'm probably going to be part of mental health as well. I think that's about all for me, and just one question only because nearly the Christmas coming up soon and we're quite busy at the moment. Just want to know because our frame is almost completed, look very, very close to finish, but with the matter of we remove all the barricade only. And last Saturday, a few business owners and bank as well asked me when we're going to finish it because they were very impressed. Honestly, they're looking forward to use that ramps. Therefore, I just want to know from Mr. Van Boxtel or relevant officer, can you tell me exactly what the day? Because close to Christmas, very busy. Just they took me half an hour. Jim was waiting at my pharmacy because I stuck on the multi-level car park. Thanks for that.
Thank you, Councillor Lim. Mr. Van Boxtel.
Through the Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Lim. And my understanding is the ramps are due for completion this month. I don't have the actual date, so I'll follow that up for you and confirm. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Van Boxtel.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. And I talked to the people that try to draw all the line, whatever, try to finish it off all those projects. They said to me, likely yesterday, actually afternoon, but never mind, because I can't trust. I have to trust the director instead or manager. And finally, just thank to all the CEO, the former CEO especially, and the directors, the managers, and also the council officer, governance, and all the executive officer, everyone, the mayor, the councillors, and so on, all the council staff and so on, for their hard work. And the last 2 years, very exciting, very great one that I worked together as a team, with the council point of view, with the director, with the manager and so on. I'm thank you so much and privileged and to be part of the council, and also I learned a lot from this new job, and also would like to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year, safe trip if ever you go for your holiday or family reunion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lim. Deputy Mayor, Councillor Formoso.
Thanks, Mayor. I've been busy, but not as busy as my fellow councillor Richard Lim. Do you sleep, man? And to be fair, he's probably the only person I know that sleeps less than I do, so hats off to a very, very hard-working councillor. I did attend some events over the last 2 weeks, most importantly the 7th of December, the SCL board meeting, which was online. Very productive, as always. SCL is doing an incredible job at the moment and will continue to do so in the new year, especially when our Impact Gym is finally completed. I'm just full of praise this evening, so I would like to personally thank Mr. Bosman's team for removing at least 32 trolleys that I counted on Stud Road last week. I don't remember what day I called you, but I remember telling you that I was annoyed and frustrated, and within 24 hours your team had cleaned it up, so a huge thank you to you and your team. Really, really great work. Thank you so much. And driving here this evening, I only saw 3, so good job. And this is a good opportunity actually to tell our residents to use our SnapSense Solve app. It actually pinpoints your exact location so it can determine where you are, and you can scroll through the number of issues that you have and choose it, and it's usually resolved very, very quickly. So really, really good thing to use. I use it myself, and I know my fellow councillors use it as well. And I would also like to praise Mr. Kearsley's team for adhering to my cries of wanting a mobile CCTV on Dunoon Road in Dandenong North after the consultation that I had with the residents with my Coffee with the Councillor and COP day a few weeks ago. one of our council mobile cameras was placed there on 9th of December, and we'll have it there for a couple of weeks. So thank you very, very much for that. I'm sure that'll ease some of the strain that we've been having in that area. And what have I missed? I would also like to take this opportunity to announce that Connie Sihogios, which is a 14-year-old Dandy High student, who I've mentioned previously, is currently competing in the World Youth Championships in Tunisia. As of yesterday, she has now been ranked as the #1 under-15 girl, under-17 girl and under 19-year-old girl in the Australian rankings, which is just phenomenal from a local club and a local resident. Yet another example of some of the elite athletes that our community is producing. So congratulations to Connie, and I'm sure we're going to see some wonderful things from her, and all the very best to her for the rest of the championships in Tunisia. And I would also like to wish all the residents of Greater Dandenong a very safe holiday season. Spend really good quality time with your loved ones. After the year that I've had, I certainly know that spending time with your family is really crucial, particularly this time of year. So really enjoy your time with your loved ones, and I look forward to a very productive year ahead for next year. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Long.
Thank you. These are the events that I have attended since my last formal meeting. 29th of November, I attended the online meeting of the Road Safe South East AGM. I was elected Vice President, which has now been changed to President and Treasurer. On the 30th of November, I attended the citizenship ceremony at Springvale. 5th of December, I attended Dandenong North Primary School and presented the school captain with 2 books on war. One was on the American Civil War, and one was on the Kokoda Trail in World War II. The 8th of December, I attended the Napoli Family Club Christmas lunch. 12th of December, I attended the Disability Advisory Committee meeting. As this is the last council meeting before Christmas, I would like to wish all of our residents a very Merry Christmas and a happy and safe New Year. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Long. Councillor Garrard.
Thank you, Mayor. Likewise, I would like to wish all the residents, the City of Greater Dandenong, particularly those in Keysborough South, to my fellow councillors and to council staff, a very safe and happy holiday season. In reflecting back on the year, as we must at this time of year, there's so many things that I'm grateful for, and I just want to acknowledge a few. Firstly, I am grateful for the opportunity to continue to work with the very engaged residents in Keysborough South, to work in partnership with the council to continue to get the best outcomes possible for them. I'm also tremendously proud of the amount of work we have all done in partnership with other councils, in particular the work we have done with SECA, the South East Climate Council Alliance, together working towards our combined carbon net zero ambitions. I'm also very proud of the various environmental achievements this year, the One Tree Per Child initiative, the soon-to-come local law to protect trees on local law coming into effect next year, the pending cat curfew, and hopefully the establishment of the biodiversity network. As I say, Dandenong does punch above its weight in the environmental and climate space, and I think we should applaud all of those that are involved in that effort. In chairing the mayoral task force this year, I really want to congratulate everybody who put so much time and effort into the tremendous advocacy work we did in the lead up to the election, including our time spent in Canberra. I'm also very proud of the many hours we spent in the recruitment of our CEO. We worked together very collegially as a group of councillors. We spent hours and hours making sure we had the right candidate. And I know all of us are looking forward to working closely with Jackie when she starts next week, with her into the future. I would also really like to acknowledge the hard work and the tremendous expertise within the council and the tremendous support that you provide to us as councillors, on whom we are so dependent on. I want to particularly thank you and congratulate you from the tremendous efforts that you put in. I personally would like to acknowledge two unsung heroes who may blush when I acknowledge them. The first one being Lisa Roberts, who is, and I just wanted to see her face when I said that, who is our go-to person for all things governance. Lisa works quietly behind the scenes to ensure integrity and accountability for all the work we do and from all of us. She keeps us out of jail. No, I'm not saying that. Within the council, and we greatly appreciate her efforts. I also want to acknowledge somebody who's not here, Jo Thorne, who is the EA to the Mayor, but who so capably supports all of us. We thank her for her perennial cheerfulness and her eternal patience in looking after us all. On other matters, more local, I'd like to congratulate the Darouge community who are so close to the completion of their tremendous new community centre. Yesterday, the Mayor, several dignitaries and myself attended the event to witness the work that they have done and the tremendous progress towards an almost finalised community centre. In addition, I'd like to congratulate the Tamil community who on Saturday night raised a tremendous amount of money within the local community to support the people who are doing it so tough back in Sri Lanka. Finally, as this COVID wave washes over us, and I think many of us know people who are sick right now, I have family members who are now sick right now, I would urge people to again start to protect yourselves as much as possible. But I also want to thank the healthcare staff who are working so hard right now to keep us well and protect us, and who will have a really tough Christmas. I want to acknowledge and tell them how much I respect the work that they are doing. I have a couple of questions tonight. Firstly, to the relevant officer, through you, Mayor, footage has been provided to the Council of cars cutting through the industrial zone into Kincoit Drive via a pedestrian crossing, creating a risk to pedestrians. Will the Council install bollards, and if so, how soon can this be done?
Thank you, Councillor Garrard. Mr Van Boxtel.
Through the Mayor, thank you, Councillor Garrard. This issue should be adequately addressed when barriers and signage are delivered as part of the yet-to-be-completed landscape works by the developer. Should any further intervention be required once the developer works are complete, they will be undertaken at that time.
Thank you, Mr Van Boxtel. Councillor Garrard.
Thank you, Mayor. And in the same area, which is the area of Kincoit Drive, an open drain has been created in what is and was a play area for children. This will create a water hazard, which is a risk to the children, and also a breeding ground for insects. How will the Council ensure public safety, particularly to the children in this area?
Thank you, Mr Van Boxtel.
Through the Mayor, thank you again, Councillor Garrard. I will need to take that question on notice. Key Council staff who can assist with this matter were not available today to assist with a reply, so I'll get back to you shortly. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Van Boxtel. Councillor Garrard.
Thank you, Mayor. What is the status of the Notice of Motion number 21, resourcing Council's environmental responsibilities, and when is it expected to come back to the Council meeting?
Thank you, Councillor Garrard. Mr Bosman.
Madam Mayor, thank you. Through yourself, Councillor Garrard, the draft report has been finalised and is currently being reviewed between myself and the Manager for Strategic Environmental Planning. I anticipate it will be tabled before Council in late January, early February next year.
Thank you, Mr Bosman. Councillor Garrard.
Thank you, Mayor. When will the Tree Protection Local Law Exhibition, approved by Council on the 12th of September this year, occur?
Thank you, Councillor Garrard. Mr Bosman.
Madam Mayor, again to yourself, Councillor. Unfortunately, the exhibition of the Tree Protection Local Law has been delayed, unavoidable and unexpected circumstances, and the exhibition is now anticipated to take place in February of next year. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Bosman. Councillor Garrard.
Sorry, Mayor, could I just ask, what was that date? Was it February?
February.
February?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. My final question, would be relieved to know, when will information on the completed tender process for the Keysborough South Hub be released?
Thank you, Councillor Garrard. Mr Van Boxtel.
Through the Mayor, thank you, Councillor Garrard. The tender process for the Keysborough South Community Hub is not yet complete, as the evaluation is still underway. It is planned to provide a report to Council early in the new calendar year. An update will be provided to councillors at the briefing session on the 16th of January.
Thank you, Mr Van Boxtel.
Thank you,
Councillor
Mayor.
Ungar. Thank you. Councillor Trong.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't have a report today, but I just tell you something about Lunar New Year's. Lunar New Year this year come very soon, and normally in February, but this year is coming on 22nd of January. And you know that they have 12 animals for the years, but you know that only 1 year that the coming years is the difference between Chinese and Vietnamese. The Chinese, they go Year of Rabbit, but Vietnamese, they go Year of Cat. That's different. Then if do you know, Ernie Councillor of Mayor have a speak a little know that you know the Year of Cat and Year of Rabbit. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Trong. So since our last meeting, I've attended quite a few events. There was recently the exhibition opening called Inked at the Walker Street Gallery, exploring personal stories through tattoos. And a number of the artists and the models for this exhibition were also there at the gallery, so it was a lovely event. But we also revealed the 12 finalists of the photographs that will make up the 2023 City of Greater Dandenong calendar, so please look out for it in your letterboxes in January. I also attended the Southeast Business Network annual Christmas breakfast and the citizenship ceremonies in the past couple of weeks. Again, it's great to be able to be part of such a moving ceremony where you welcome new Australians to our community. So it's, again, fantastic. And it's probably the highlight of the Mayoralty is the citizenship ceremonies. I also attended the Greater Southeast Melbourne end-of-year event where the past mayors and current mayors do a bit of a handover. So it's lovely to meet some of the new mayors in the Greater Southeast region as well. I've attended the Australian Multicultural Media Centre with Deputy Mayor Councillor Formoso, and also recently was interviewed by AMMC by their local students. So it's great to see some young people taking an interest in local media. The Youth Leadership Celebration was also well attended by councillors and myself, and it's just fantastic to see the number of youth in our area taking on leadership programs and trying to develop skills in that area. And I think our municipality is in great hands based on the young people that were at the celebration. Also attended the Evergreen Seniors Group Christmas breakup. Seniors in our area know how to party, and they had a fantastic time. A lot of dancing was happening and a lot of singing along, but unfortunately I couldn't stay long enough to get on the dance floor, as I also had to attend the big summer read that was held downstairs. Well, no, on this level, on level 2, at the library here. So it was a fantastic event to see the kids from the local primary school, I think it was Dandenong Primary School, that attended that. They got really excited with all the activities that were involved with the big summer read. With Councillor Lim and Councillor O'Reilly, I attended the Springvale Community Garden Christmas party, and it's an amazing, amazing community garden in Springvale, and I think it reflects the interest that we have in our community in developing further community gardens. And so I encourage our local residents who have a keen eye for gardening and a green thumb, unlike myself, who I can only grow weeds, seems to be. But maybe I need to get involved in the local community gardens a bit more and pick up some tips from our local residents. But again, I strongly encourage our community members to get involved in the local community gardens, whether it's the Springvale Community Gardens, the Maralinga Community Gardens, or even starting up more in the area. Be fantastic. Another great event was the CGD Volunteers End of Year Dinner, another group of people who know how to party and who know how to have a good time. But on behalf of Council, I'd again like to thank our volunteers that work tirelessly across different areas within Council to help run events, help things keep going, and the amount of, I guess, money that we would have to spend if we didn't have those volunteers would be endless. So their commitment to our community is just priceless, and I want to say thank you to our volunteers. I could keep going, sorry. The Vietnamese Australian Seniors Association 31st anniversary celebration, AIMS Open Day Springvale, that was again another amazing event. AIMS contribute a great deal to our community, helping new arrivals in this area and across Australia to settle in, to find their feet, to build new skills. It's an amazing, amazing organisation that's been around for many, many years. I will skip some because I know there's a lot here and I don't want to bore everyone. One that's close to my heart is the Mayoral Task Force supporting people seeking asylum. I chaired my first executive meeting just the other week, and again another fantastic program that we have that as the City of Greater Dandenong we've established, and we've gotten on board another 39 councils in total, and I look forward to seeing more councils not just in Victoria but across Australia to join that task force. It's an extremely important task force. Oh no, I can't miss this one. Carols in the Park, just on Friday night. Again, another fantastic event, and thank you to the City of Greater Dandenong for facilitating that, for the community development team, community services team, Mr. Devine's team. Thank you for the support in running such a wonderful evening. And just on the weekend, I attended the Druce Community Day with Councillor Lim, Councillor Garrard and our previous Mayor, Councillor Mehmeti. Again, another fantastic community, small community in our area, but it's great to see that they have a home now. After 20 years of trying to find a permanent home, they've found a home in Keysborough, so fantastic. And I attended last night the Melbourne Afghanistan Soccer Association annual dinner and live draw. It's a great great team of people putting together a tournament with Afghanistan or Afghan residents, not just here in Victoria, but across Australia and as far as the United States and New Zealand. So they will be coming to town Christmas Day, and they'll be having their tournament run in Greater Dandenong and Casey, and it'll be exciting to see some of those tournaments. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the council staff, the executive team, our acting CEO. Thank you. This is your last for now. And I do look forward to working alongside Ms Weatherall as CEO from next week when she arrives. And I wish you all a very happy Christmas, a safe Christmas, safe holiday season, not just to those in the chambers here, but to all of the residents in the City of Greater Dandenong. And please stay safe over the new year, and see you in 2023. Thank you.
Sorry, Mayor.
Oh,
Can I
Councillor
present
Lim.
this one? Sorry, I forgot all about.
Of course. So Councillor Lim has 2 books to present.
Thank you, everyone. I went to the Malaysian 33-year celebration of their radio, community radio, and I saw this very beautiful book about what we call a professional migrant women project, Undefeated, that's the title, 90 migrant women, 118 journeys. I would like to present these 2 books to our 2 libraries. First of all, Dandenong Library, second one for Springvale Library, to our mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Lim.
Yep, okay.
Thank you.
Yep, okay.
I think many women in our municipality can probably relate to this book about the journeys. Thank you, Councillor Lim. Mr. Kearsley, are there any items to be tabled from last meeting?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So we have questions taken on notice from Councillor Lim, Garrard, Mehmeti, Formoso, Tan and Dark, and I table the answers today. If I could also add, perhaps just quickly, on behalf of the organisation as well, a very festive Christmas and Happy New Year to all of you as councillors, also to the exec team, to our staff and also to our community. Please be safe, enjoy it, enjoy your families, and we will see you all back here on January the 23rd for the next council meeting in 2023. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Kearsley. Item 7, urgent business. As there's no urgent business, I declare this meeting closed at 8:18 p.m. Thank you, everyone, and have a happy Christmas.